You're entering CNBC TV18's Fire Safe Studio, powered by Century Ply, now with Firewall technology.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Smart Money. It's the weekend and we are here to give you a master class on all things related to your investments. And today the guest on my show is Keertan Shah, the founder and CEO of SRE Wealth, and we're going to do a deep dive into fund of funds. Now, what are fund of funds? How can you use it as a tool to create your wealth and increase your investments? What are the tax implications? What's the difference between ETFs and fund of funds? All of this will be discussed in the next half an hour. So keep it with Smart Money. Keertan, welcome to the show and thank you so much for joining us. You know, before we start talking about what fund of funds are, which is the main theme, I do want to just put a basic primer on the difference between index funds and ETFs and how they are different, because that is the main reason why fund of funds exist, right?
Sonia, thank you so much for having me on the show. So, Sonia, like you rightly pointed out, I think it's imperative that investors first understand what is the difference between an index and an ETF, because in my opinion, index and ETFs are interchangeably used, whereas people don't understand that there is a thin line between both of these categories of fund. So to highlight a couple of differences which may be very appealing, right? The first one is the NAV. Now look, what happens, Sonia, is that while you buy an index fund, you always get the end of the day NAV like it happens in any open-ended mutual funds. But while you are trying to buy into an ETF, ETF actually works like a stock. So you can actually time and price what time of the day do you want to buy the ETF and at what price, right? So this is the first major difference. The second, which is also important in my opinion, is the cost. Now, typically what happens is a lot of us as retail investors definitely look at cost before buying any product. Now, theoretically, it is assumed that index funds have a higher cost, whereas TER of or cost of an ETF is lower. But what we kind of forget to analyze and understand is that while you buy an ETF over an exchange, there is also a brokerage cost that you end up paying, right? So if you transact through a broker, there is a buying cost and a selling cost to an ETF. But more than that, I think the major thing that differentiates, in my opinion, between an ETF and an index is that while you try and buy an ETF, which is an exchange traded product, there is definitely going to be some bid-ask spread. Now, this bid-ask spread in ETFs is generally slightly higher, is because you will see that in ETFs, there is not a lot of liquidity like you have in stocks, right? And because there is not a lot of liquidity, I've actually seen ETFs trading at a 10% discount or a 10% premium to the actual price in many cases because of this illiquidity. So in my opinion, you can't just look at the higher cost of index and say that ETF is good. ETF has this brokerage and bid-ask spread that generally people ignore. And the last bit of it is that, as a retail investor, if you want to do an SIP or an STP or an SWP, ETF does not allow you to do that. You can only do that in probably an index. And also, while you're trying to buy an ETF, it's a compulsion that you need to have a demat account. So while, Sonia, people use index and ETF very interchangeably, there are starking differences between how both of these products operate on.
Sure. With the way you put the differences in front of us, I think I got the answer to my next question. The logical question is, for retail investors, should you go in for index funds or ETFs? Given what you said, I think it's better that retail investors go in for index funds, right?
Sonia, absolutely. In my opinion, as a retail investor, if you want to invest anything less than 50 lakh rupees, you should always look at investing through an index versus an ETF. Now, I'm sure this question will come up as to why 50 lakh and what is the significance of this number. Typically, what happens is, Sonia, that like we spoke, the disadvantage of an ETF is the bid-ask spread, which is a major difference. Now, typically what happens is that if you have 50 lakhs and above to invest, you can actually eradicate this bid-ask spread problem. Why? Because any investment that you want to do over 50 lakh rupees, you can directly approach the AMC. You can tell the AMC that you want to invest 50 lakh rupees, and the AMC will create live units for you at the market price. So if your investment quantum is more than 50 lakhs, you can eradicate bid-ask spread because you can go to the AMC and get the live price without the bid-ask spread because the AMC is creating new units for you. So I think if less than 50 lakhs, Sonia, in my opinion, index funds, more than 50 lakhs, you can definitely go for ETFs because at the end of the day, what will happen is, let's say if you are able to time the market well and you bring that proficiency, that is one advantage that ETF will bring on board. And another is, of course, the cost is slightly lower. Like an ETF would have 10 paisa and probably an index would have 50, 60 paisa. That cost over a period of time makes ETF a superior product, but provided the investor has more than 50 lakh rupees to invest on it.
Okay, so if you have less than 50 lakh rupees, you'd rather go in for an index fund than an ETF. Now coming to the main theme, right? What exactly are fund of funds and why should a retail investor look at them?
So, Sonia, what happens here is, like we categorize that if your investment amount is less than 50 lakhs, you are good of investing in an index fund. But index fund comes with its own set of challenges. Now, I'm going to highlight two challenges which are extremely important while you are taking investment decisions. So the first problem, or I would not say a problem, but I would say a limitation with an index fund is that you might not have a fund on all indices. Like say, for example, you might want to invest in, let's say, a Motilal Oswal, or rather, let's say you want to invest in a NASDAQ 100 fund, right? Now, NASDAQ 100 ETF is available. Motilal Oswal offers that ETF, but there is no index fund for that. So what happens if you want to invest in a Motilal Oswal, what happens if you want to invest in a NASDAQ 100, right? You can either go for an ETF because there is no index fund available. That is where a fund of fund comes into picture, point one. Point two also is, Sonia, that there are a lot of these themes that you don't really have funds around. Like say, for example, you don't have a fund around to invest in China, right? Or you might not have a fund around to invest in, let's say, gold mining companies, right? So if at all you want to play these themes that I spoke of, or you want to invest in indices where there are no index funds, is exactly where a fund of fund as a concept comes in. Now, what is a fund of fund in simple language? So a fund of fund is a fund in which when you invest, that fund will further invest into some another fund, right? And that is exactly where it plays this role, that if you don't have index funds available, you can take the fund of fund route to invest in either that index or that theme only.
Okay, so it just means purely a fund of fund invests into other mutual funds, but there are different types of fund of funds as well, right? So just want to take us through briefly what are the different types and what looks the most attractive for a retail investor?
So Sonia, ideally there are four types of fund of funds that you will generally see in the Indian market. The first type of fund of fund is called the wrapper around ETF. Now, like the name suggests, there is already an existing ETF available in the market. You are creating a fund of funds so that you can invest in this ETF. So what happens is, let's say the example that I was trying to give, that you want to invest in NASDAQ 100, right? But NASDAQ 100 is only available in the ETF form. Let's say Motilal Oswal offers this NASDAQ 100 ETF, but there is no index fund for a NASDAQ 100. So what you do is, you form something called as a fund of fund, right? Where you invest that money in that fund of fund. That fund of fund will indirectly invest money in NASDAQ 100 ETF. So it's called the wrapper around ETF, which is the first category of fund of fund. The second category of fund of fund, Sonia, is something called as multi-manager, but with the same asset class. Now, what do I mean when I say this? Let's take example of this fund called the ICICI Prudential India Equity Fund of Fund. Now, what that fund does is that you invest in that particular fund, and that fund further would invest in 7 other mutual funds. Now, these 7 other mutual funds can be the same AMC, ICICI, or can be other AMCs, right? So while you invest in this ICICI fund that I spoke of, you are indirectly taking exposure to 7 other mutual funds, right? To name a couple of them so that you know, viewers can relate, is ICICI India Opportunity Fund, or Parag Parekh Flexi Cap Fund, or SBI Contra Fund. So what you are doing is, when you invest in this FOF, you are indirectly investing in these 7 other mutual funds around which the FOF is made. you might have something very similar on the debt side
Okay,
also.
Ketan. Okay, I want to actually just hold on there because you're going into great explanation about what the different kind of fund of funds are. But I'm also getting one query right now on our social media platform, so I just want to take that up with you and then move along. Before we talk about the different fund of funds, Kiran Singh writes into us. He says that when we already have access to invest in direct stocks listed both in the Indian as well as in the US markets, then why should I complicate my life by investing in fund of funds? I mean, that seems to be a logical question, right? What would your answer be?
So Sonia, look, this is as simple as a question where we are saying that why invest in a mutual fund while I can invest in the stocks, right? So look, while you can invest in stocks directly, there can be multiple limitations. We might not know what stock to buy, when to buy. Whereas while we go through a mutual fund route, we actually have a professional fund manager who's managing that investment for us. Also, that with that small amount of money, that can be 10,000 rupees, you can actually get exposure and diversification to 50 stocks that might be available in a mutual fund. Now, to very specifically answer this question, while Kiran spoke about investing in the US stocks, look, Sonia, what happens is there are multiple other costs that are included, right, while you invest directly in a US stock. To give you an example, currency conversion cost. So while you're directly buying into these stocks in the US, there are multiple other costs that comes along that we don't know of. So I think while of course, if you know that you can pick the right stocks, exit the right stock, the sectors, of course, one way of looking at it is you can directly go ahead and do that. But for most retail investors, I think these structures which are made available are a better opportunity with lower costs on them.
Okay, and I think the biggest advantage is you can get better sleep at night, right? Why do you want to do all the hard work and all the research when you have professionals who can do it for you? All right, let's do one thing. Ketan, let's take a quick break. We have many more questions for you, lots of queries pouring in. And I do want to get back to that discussion on the different kinds of fund of funds and where the maximum potential lies. So all of this and more lined up in just a bit on Smart Money. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Smart Money on CNBC TV 18. We are in conversation with Ketan Shah and he's telling us what fund of funds are and what are the different kinds of fund of funds and how you can sort of use that as an investment tool. Ketan, before the break, you were talking to us about the different kinds of fund and you spoke about wrapper around ETF funds. Now, this will help you invest in other existing ETFs, you said. And, these are launched by AMCs to tap investors who don't have a demat account. But rather than investing in this fund of fund, I just invest in an ETF by itself, right? So what is really the difference between investing in a fund of fund like a wrapper around ETF and investing in a plain vanilla ETF itself?
So Sonia, like I said, that if you have access to the ETF, of course the cost of the ETF is going to be much lower, right? So looking at it in that plain vanilla structure, of course ETF makes a lot of sense. But like we already discussed, that the problem with ETFs may arise when we are saying that there is going to be a bid-ask spread, right? So as a retail investor, I don't expect retail investors to understand whether it is trading at a premium or a discount and how do I time it during live markets, how do I place the bet, right? So which is why I think while you go through probably a fund of fund, right, you get the end of the day NAV, and that solves your problem is because you don't get into the hesitation of the bid-ask spread or trying to time the market during the markets are live. Of course, so for a professional who understands how to buy and sell on the exchange, ETF may look a much better proposition. But for all retail investors who can't do that, like I said, below 50 lakhs, I think a fund of fund where index funds are not available, fund of fund on that ETF will make more sense to the retail investors on it.
Okay, got that. So that's about the wrapper around ETFs. You were telling us about the other types of fund of funds. Just explain, and where do you see, which is the most attractive fund of fund for a retail investor?
So Sonia, the second one that we were covering was multi-manager same asset. where we said that you could invest in this one fund of fund, which will indirectly invest into multiple equity funds, either of the same fund house or different fund house, right? Similarly, you can have even debt in this. So you invest in one particular debt fund of fund, and then it invests into multiple other debt mutual funds in the market. Like the example is, let's say, the Axis Dynamic Fund of Fund, right? The third type of fund, which I think is very interesting, is also called the multi-asset class fund of fund. What's a multi-asset class fund of fund, Sonia, is that when you invest in this particular fund of fund, this fund of fund will indirectly invest in other mutual funds, which can be a combination of debt and equity both. So if you don't want to invest in equity completely or debt completely, which we understood as a last example, this comes across as a good solution, which is called the multi-asset fund of fund. And the fourth one, Sonia, in my opinion, is called the feeder funds. Now, what are these feeder funds? Feeder funds are funds in which, where you invest in an FOF, that FOF is actually investing in existing mutual fund of a foreign fund. Like, say, for example, you might want to invest in China, but you might not know how to do that investment in China. So you can invest in this Edelweiss fund, which is indirectly investing in the JP Morgan fund, which is investing in China. Or similarly, you might want to invest in world mining companies. So you might invest in this DSP fund, which is indirectly investing in a BlackRock world mining fund, right? So that's how you can get an international exposure or a currency hedge. And these are all the advantages probably of why a fund of fund can be chosen, because a lot of these themes or indices don't really exist otherwise for an individual to invest in something.
So I just had one follow-up here. You were talking about multi-manager fund of funds, which has an investment into debt fund of funds as well. Isn't this very risky? Because in any case, debt funds suffer from, credit risk, interest rate risk, and a lot of these fund managers, some of them at least, invest in a lot of low-rated, low credit-rated securities. So isn't it a riskier proposition to invest in a debt fund of funds?
In fact, not. So if I give you an example of, let's say, Axis All Season Debt Fund, Sonia. So Axis All Season Debt Fund is predominantly currently invested in 14 other funds, right? So they would have invested in an Aditya Birla short-term income, or they would have invested in HDFC low duration fund. Now, what typically ends up happening is one of the most important things to look at while you are investing in a debt fund is the concentration risk. As to while you invest 100 rupees, how much of that 100 rupees is given to one company? Now, if I'm investing in this fund of Axis, which is investing in 14 other funds, and each of these funds have invested in 100 different companies, I am actually getting a huge diversification where even if one of those companies default, the impact on my Axis All Season fund is going to be very minuscule. I think that's a very big advantage that this particular fund, in my opinion, brings on board. Sorry.
Okay, got that. I wanted to talk a little bit about the advantages and disadvantages, but I'm also getting some queries. So if I can just pull up one of the query, Sandeep Shinde has written to us. Since we were discussing this, I just wanted to throw this at you. Can you share the prospects of the Motilal Oswal Nasdaq 100 fund of funds? And I can't tell you how many times I get asked this question. So over to you, Ketan. What would your response be?
So Sonia, typically what happens is, as retail investors, most of us only look at the returns that the fund has generated. And the return that Nasdaq as an index has generated is phenomenal. Like if you look at the last 3 years, the return on Nasdaq is roughly 28%, whereas if you look at S&P, BSE 500 TRI, it is only 15%. So the alpha is humongous. And that's the same situation when you look at a 5-year, 7-year, 10-year horizon. But I think to Sandeep, my only limited point here is that Sandeep, please understand that while you are investing in Nasdaq 100 to a certain extent is a very concentrated index. Now, what do I mean? If you slightly go a little deeper in Nasdaq 100, you will understand that 50% of the stocks of which Nasdaq index is made up of is either technology or services. When I say technology, let's say Apple. When I say services, let's say Netflix. Now, indirectly, what you are doing is you are investing in an index, thinking that you are going to get diversification, but ultimately 50% of your money is getting into technology and services, and another 22% in consumer durables. So if you're investing in NASDAQ 100, you are typically investing 72% of your money in 3 sectors and 50% of your money in pseudo only 1 sector. Now, if you understand this theme and you understand technology and you are okay with investing this amount of money in concentrated bet like technology, then NASDAQ makes a lot of sense, right? But if you want a broader framework of investment, you can do the same ETF from Motilal Oswal, but go for an S&P 500 one, which is a more diversified one. So I think my answer is that if you are okay with more volatility versus more return, NASDAQ may make sense. But if you want to bring down your volatility in terms of investment, right, the same fund house also offers you S&P 500, and you can go ahead and invest there, Sandeep.
Which is a better bet? Okay, got that. Now you've made a very strong argument for fund of funds. Let's talk about something against fund of funds. If you had to put up the disadvantages for us, what would the biggest disadvantages be for investing in fund of funds?
So Sonia, I will highlight 3 of these disadvantages. So the first disadvantage in my opinion is going to be cost, Sonia. Look, because what happens is while you are investing in this fund of fund, which is then further investing in some other ETF or some other fund, there are 2 layers of costs that you are bearing. The first layer of cost is this fund of fund that you are investing in, and the second layer of cost is this other fund in which the fund of fund is investing. So cost can be slightly higher than comparing the same thing with other funds. So that's my first problem with fund of fund as a category. The second problem, in my opinion, is taxation, right? Now what happens is that we discussed 4 categories, and there is only one category that has slight advantage, which is the wrapper around ETF. So what happens is that, let's say if you invest in a fund of fund, which is investing in an ETF and specifically domestic ETF, and that ETF is also further investing 90% of the money in domestic equity. Only in this situation will you get equity related taxation, right? For everything else, you get debt taxation in a fund of funds. So even if your fund of fund is investing in domestic other funds, right? But because it is not exchange traded, you will still have to end up paying a debt taxation in spite of taking an equity allocation. So that's a small disadvantage in my opinion in terms of taxation. The third one, Sonia, is slightly tricky, but I'll try and explain that. So what happens is while you invest in a debt fund, let's say an independent debt fund, right? And let's say some bond defaults, right? So what happens in that case is that bond is removed and put up in another basket called segregation, right? Now let's say you sold that fund at that point in time, and this segregated debt, pays back to the fund house after 3 years. Even if it pays after 3 years, you will get that money because you were invested at that time when this was segregated out of the portfolio. Now the disadvantage in a fund of fund structure is, Sonia, that I have invested in a fund of fund which has further invested in that fund. Now the segregation benefit does not come to the fund of fund investor. What it means is, had I invested in the fund of fund at that time, where it was segregated, but I sold off, so I don't get that money. Money only comes to the person who's holding the fund of fund when the money is received by that other fund which segregated the portfolio. So these are 2-3 disadvantages in my opinion of investing in fund of funds.
Okay, in fact, it was a beautiful summary actually of what are fund of funds, the advantages, the disadvantages, and why you should or should not be investing in fund of funds. Thanks a lot, Kirtan. We've run out of time, but we will definitely take it up from you again on another show perhaps to take this forward and address some more queries. So thanks a lot for joining us on Smart Money, and have a great weekend. All right, with that, it is curtains down on another episode of Smart Money. Thanks so much for joining us, and keep it with CNBC TV 18.